Hello guys, today I'm going to share some tips that I have been using since I was about to give up in finding myself and choosing to do things I ended up regretting later. Sometimes, we are all addicted to something. Our immediate association with the word addiction is usually that of a hopeless junkie begging in the streets, but many addictions are socially acceptable and thus virtually unnoticed and rationalized. For example, some of us have to have our morning cup of coffee, which proves we're addicted to caffeine. Before we continue, hit that subscribe button if you want to be happy and healthy person designed to have the best in life. Stay tuned to the end, I'm gonna show you how ego is tied up in addiction. How to break up ego pattern of addictive behaviors. How being present helps. And finally, and most important thing, I will give you tips for being more present. Many of us, especially in the modern world, are glued to our electronic devices and almost constantly plugged into social media, hopelessly hooked on status updates without even realizing it. The ego loves having us addicted to something because it takes away our personal power and makes the ego stronger. The more dependent and weak we are, the stronger and more powerful the ego can become. How the ego is tied up in addictions. These may seem like two separate matters, but the fact is that the ego is inextricably entwined with addictions. Addiction keeps us slaves to our impulses and takes our power away from us. Here is how your ego is involved in your addictions. By fueling dissatisfaction. The ego cannot survive if you are feeling peaceful and satisfied, so it seeks to find ways to make you feel out of balance, making you believe that you are constantly needing or wanting something extra. This is what keeps us always going back for that extra coffee, cigarette, slice of pie, or status update. By always needing more. Enough is never enough for the ego. It will keep you under its rule by making you believe that you need more of this or more of that to be truly happy. It tells you that once you reach a certain point, that promotion, this Friday, or getting girlfriend, for example, you will be truly happy. But once you reach those places, you are still dissatisfied. This is because the ego can never be satisfied, it's not in the nature of the ego. By making you feel inadequate. The only reason we get addicted to things is because we feel incomplete without them. There is something wrong with us that can only be fixed by indulging in that addictive impulse, whether it be alcohol or obsessive social media use. By keeping you in unhealthy situations. When you are strong in yourself and peaceful, the ego cannot thrive or take over. This is why it keeps us dependent on negative emotions, stimulants, and even bad relationships. Relationships are also very addictive, even when they are unhealthy, and this keeps us in a weakened state where the ego can take over and run our lives. How to break the ego pattern of addictive behavior. The good news is that even if you're addicted to something like most people are, you don't have to continue to succumb to those urges of the ego. Here are some tips for breaking the pattern of addiction. Wait instead of immediately indulging. Next time you feel the urge to pick up your smartphone to check Facebook again, or to keep going back for more cake even though you are already full, do yourself a favor, and pause. Pay attention to the impulse as it keeps popping up, taking this opportunity to notice the patterns of your ego and the lies it tries to tell you. Research the psychology of addiction. If you read more into how addiction works, it will be easy to notice that it is completely based in ego and insecurity. Becoming more aware of the complexity behind this relationship will give you the ability to look beyond it and become stronger. Replace bad habits with good ones. The best way to quit an unhealthy behavior is to replace it with a better one. If you have a habit of being in bad relationships over and over, try joining a club in your town instead. If you are a smoker, go for a run every time you crave a smoke. If you drink soda, start replacing it with water, or decide that instead of checking your social media updates constantly, you will do something productive every time the urge strikes. This will put your own personal power back where it belongs, your hands. By being strong enough to make conscious choices about how you spend your time, you will become a better person who is less ruled by the ego. How being present helps. The ego is mostly centered on constantly being dissatisfied with reality. Wherever you are, and however you are, is never enough to satisfy the ego. This means that it constantly needs to remember the past and project into the future, comparing the present and constantly pointing out ways in which it falls short. This is an illusion that is meant to keep the ego alive and thriving, to keep you under its control. You can start to take this power back by deciding to always be present for your life. This means resisting the urge to want to be somewhere else and accepting where you are right now, in this moment. Here are some tips for being more present. Pay attention to your breathing. The breath is always there and can serve as an anchor to bring us back to a calm, present state of being. Next time you notice that you're getting caught up in the antics of the ego or getting upset over something, pause, and notice your stream of breath flowing in and out. You can inhale on 3 counts, then exhale on 3 counts, or even hold your breath for a second or 2 in between. It's up to you to find which method works best. It's not a matter of following along strict instructions, but about creating your own way of doing things. Eventually, you will have your own reliable method for watching your breathing. Write down your dreams. Dreams can be a valuable source of insight into our subconscious minds and fears. Some people believe that they don't dream, since they hardly remember them, but everyone dreams. To start remembering yours, you only need to start writing them down each morning. This will teach you a lot about your own self and the nature of your ego, making clear things that were confusing before. Notice the beauty in small things. The essence of presentness is noticing the beauty of the world. When we take a look at an animal, a sunset, or a flower, we see that it exists in a calm state of being and doesn't worry or get caught up in mental antics. We can learn valuable lessons from these elements of nature by noticing this calm beauty and letting it touch us. Sit quietly instead of distracting yourself. We have trained ourselves to always need stimulation, but what if that is not a healthy way to live? Next time you want to switch on the TV or do something else to entertain yourself, try resisting that urge and instead, sitting quietly in a room alone. You will notice a lot of resistance from your ego, but keep still. This is a great way to notice the ways that your ego jerks you around and get stronger at resisting it and making your own decisions about what to focus on. All in all, presentness is the best way to detach from your ego. When you are in a still state of accepting reality, your ego has no power over anything. It is silenced by your own calm state of mind. This is how you come to own your own mind again instead of being tossed about by the whims of your ego. You will soon live a completely free and inspired life, full of healthy relationships, successful jobs, and most importantly, happiness. Thank you for watching. Like, share, and if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe to this channel for more motivation, lifestyle and tips to live a happy life.